Fuck Rick Rubin. Yes, I know, he was extremely influential in the late 80s and early 90s on like the hip-hop and punk scene. I don't give a shit. Yes, I realize that the sentiment I'm about to express is not original and has been expressed by many other people before. I don't give a fuck. This is something I have to deal with every single day of my life. Because Rick Rubin has produced a number of my favorite albums, all of which, the worst element of them is the production. In fact, of all the albums I love, these are the albums with the shittiest production. Rick Rubin's infamy began in the late 90s when he became a participant in something referred to as the loudness war, where everybody was turning up the volume on all their recordings to be as loud as humanly fucking possible and as compressed and shitty sounding as possible because they thought, I don't know, louder is better. People like stuff when it's loud. And that's fair. People do like stuff when it's loud, but it sounds like fucking dog shit. And the irony of that is that when you play it loud, it sounds even worse, and also that you have to play it loud for it to even make sense. The first album that's really infamous for this is Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication, which is a great album, has lots of really fucking killer songs, a lot of the best singles that Red Hot Chili Peppers ever put together. But the album is so fucking loud, it is known for blowing speakers. I've read stories about people who had this song, they were playing like music out of an amp, and the first track on the album came on, and it literally just blew out their amp, because it's so fucking unnecessarily loud. And honestly, I find the album headache-inducing to listen to all the way through. Even though it's a great album, it slowly fucking pounds on my brain until I can't take it anymore, and I would say that about all of Rick Rubin's production. De-Loused in the Comatorium, the first Mars Volta album, one of their best albums, but try to tell me that you can listen to the entire thing without getting a headache, especially the last song, Take the Veil Serpentax. It's just so, like, pummelingly loud with all the different cacophonous elements at the end, and like, that song is a great song and it sounds cool, but like, god, I can't fucking take it. System of a Down's last albums, like Hypnotize would probably be my favorite System of a Down album. I think it has the strongest songwriting, but then the production is so shit that it's just, listen to the song Dreaming. There's so much going on, and it should be like different volumes, different layers, but all of it's turned up to maximum, and it just sounds like a clusterfuck. I don't know if you'll be able to tell with just the 10 seconds of clip that I'll be able to play on YouTube without getting content ID'd, but listen to this piece of the guitar solo from the song Hypnotize. It is so compressed that you can hear it like clipping in the audio. It sounds terrible. This is particularly upsetting because System of a Down's previous albums, like Toxicity, sound great. The production's fantastic on Toxicity. What the fuck happened? Why would they bring this guy in? Coheed and Cambria's No World for Tomorrow is probably the one that offends me the most. I think I can understand why they would pick Rick Rubin since they were going for this more throttling, heavy sound on that album, but it just totally ruins their songs that are more lavishly produced, like No World for Tomorrow itself. That song is this big, grandiose, epic song, but the details are really muddy, and you have to crank it all the way up to hear the details, but then once you crank it all the way up, it's headache-inducing. You see, this is the problem here. Like, if you have a song that's well-produced, you can play it as loud as you want, and it'll always sound good. It's not gonna clip your speakers. It's not gonna fucking give you a headache. You're just gonna hear all the details and stuff. And then if you play it quietly, you can also have it be fucking pleasant and understandable. These albums have to be cranked up, and then they become a nightmare. And that's another case where Coheed, I mean, they've had a totally different production sound on every album they've put out, but if you ask me, the best production they ever had was on Good Apollo on Burning Star 4. That album sounds really clean, really tight, and this is the one after that, where suddenly the production's total dog shit in a new way from how it was on in Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. And of course I have to think, okay, well, I might hate the way all these albums sound, but if I love so many albums that this guy's been the producer on, maybe he's got a hand in that. Maybe he's part of why these albums are so good. But I really have my doubts about that. All of these bands have put out great albums regardless. I like all of the first 4 Coheed and Cambria albums. All of them have very different production, and some of them sound better and some of them sound worse, but I think the songwriting is pretty much on par across those 4 albums. The Mars Volta, Francis the Mute, is every bit as good as de-loused in my opinion. I love Amputexture. I think that one has stronger production, very weird production, but stronger production than de-loused. And if you read about Rick Rubin on Wikipedia, there's quotes from the lead singer of Slipknot talking about how Rick never really showed up. He wasn't even really around. He didn't help at all with the album. He got way overpaid to basically do nothing. That he's just a shadow of the man he might have once been, this influential figure. Now he's just a guy who shows up and gets paid an insane amount of money to make really shitty sounding albums. Everyone ragged on the latest Black Sabbath album, 13, for the production. That was the biggest thing that people had a problem with about that album. Just everything he produces sounds like shit. He has ruined albums that would otherwise be amazing. I really think that some of those albums would be better regarded by people if not for the fact that they give you a fucking headache to listen to. And I've got all this shit on my phone, so every single day when one of these songs comes on shuffle, I have to deal with this. I have to okay, well, gotta change my volume because it sounds like shit, and now I've got a headache after the song's over. And it's consistent with all the stuff he's produced. Fuck Rick Rubin. Here is a stylistic parody that I did of his sound. Enjoy.
We on that Ragnarok shit. Everyone convinced that the future's a bitch. Ready to flinch at the clap of a hand, like the sound of the bomb that's erasing the land. We on that Ragnarok shit. Everyone convinced that the future's a bitch. Ready to flinch at the clap of a hand, like the sound of the bomb that's erasing the land. The Orange Man tweets just like Loki, while phony ass fears play so damn hokey. You gotta be joking, and maybe you are. The signal got lost when we all tore apart. It's noisy, you have to yell it so loud, incoherently overpowering all of the crowd with gibberish sounds that carry more distance. Messages of ever-increasing complete total dissonance. And this is how the loudness war rages on. Normalize the track till the nuance is gone. Soak it in reverb and play like depth is. Just as much sound as you can possibly pack in. Pan it all to the left and right 100%. And never ever ever try to relent. Represent your labels and scream out loud to drown out the sound of all the bombs coming down. We on that Ragnarok shit. Everyone convinced that the future's a bitch. Ready to flinch at the clap of a hand, like the sound of the bomb that's erasing the land. We on that Ragnarok shit. Everyone convinced that the future's a bitch. Ready to flinch at the clap of a hand, like the sound of the bomb that's erasing the land.